Want to get to breaking news just into the newsroom. ESPN reporting that Stephanie White is the new head coach for the Indiana Fever. She just left the Connecticut Sun. She's a former Fever player, also was an assistant coach for the team in the past. And if you remember, she was also just a standout at Purdue when she played for Purdue a number of years ago. And she was also one of the names people had been talking about as a potential new head coach for the Indiana Fever.
Prepare yourself for the most exciting journey of your life as Stephanie White has revealed her plan for Caitlin Clark. That's really brave. It is causing a stir around the WNBA. Remember how bad the Fever was last season. Well, those days are almost over. White's approach focuses on dominating and the best part, not just improving.
Caitlin Clark has came out and she has made a short but sweet endorsement of the hiring of Stephanie White.
She intends to construct a whole system around herself. What may that look like, do you think? We're discussing a plan specifically designed to take use of Clark's special skills. This will be a first for the WNBA, and here's the really exciting part. Clark is fully committed. Playing for White isn't the only reason she's thrilled. She is prepared to absorb her knowledge. The fire in Clark's eyes is visible. She's starving. She has also stated that one day, I hope to be among the world's top golfers. It's more than just talk. That's ambition with a capital A. But remember that Clark is not the only one in the world. With Clark, the Fever has an all-star trifecta: Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. White's attention is not solely on Clark. She is trying to figure out how to make this entire squad shine. She's discussing cultivating a winning culture and nurturing talent. White's goal goes beyond winning games. Her goal is to establish a dynasty. Yes, it's ideal. Big three, and you have heard my words. Well, there are three key players on this team. And in professional basketball, if you have an opportunity, Lexi Hull was also acquired. She is, of course, she is capable at playing defense. She is capable of recovering. On this team, she is an energetic spark plug. How, therefore, would White transform the Fever from underdogs to leading contenders? It all comes down to a team that is driven for success, Clark's skills, White's expertise, and the ideal balance of talent, strategy, and passion. The Fever are now going for the stars rather than merely the playoffs. Let me tell you, the rest of the WNBA should be on guard because they want the championship. As a result, when White and Clark team up, anyone who stands in their way loses the game. Many people are essentially stating that Stephanie White is the next big thing. In that regard, Coach, she's the next Sharif. Many have been drawing comparisons between her and Sharif. Sharif has won numerous titles. Will she be able to win one more in Indiana? Wait, have you noticed the current state of Indiana Fever? White and Clark are more than just a pair of coaches. After years of development, this collaboration is set to blow up on the WNBA scene. Are you curious as to what's so exciting, everyone? Immediately following the announcement of White as the new head coach, let's start with Clark. Clark didn't simply click like she put her all into reposting the message, using two phrases that caused a basketball fever. Do you sense the thrill? That superstar is prepared to step up her game to a new level, as seen by Clark's delighted expression. As soon as she heard this news, she ran to the Instagram post about the Indian sickness, which stated that it was fever season. In addition, she promptly publicized the announcement from the organization that Stephanie White would be the new head coach on her former account. It appeared that Caitlin Clark was unquestionably siding with Stephanie White, and she quickly obtained this information. Their first conversation was already something different. White kept bringing up Clark's passion for the game. In any case, she stated that she is a student of the game. Indeed, she is a huge fan of basketball. She has performed admirably in the house and has handled you or aware of all the attention. She only wants to play and win, and I'm excited to work with players that share that desire. Additionally, there is little drama with this young team and franchise. Nothing fancy, just a sincere passion for basketball. You may be thinking, well, that's exactly what White is looking for in a player, but why is this so unique? Let me explain. White has been watching Clark since 8th grade. She is completely familiar with Clark's game, including every crossover, three-pointer, and no-look pass. She is now prepared to apply all of her knowledge to further drive Clark in the direction she mentioned. I was unaware that she had been a fan of Caitlin Clark since 8th grade. Guys, that is a big step in and of itself. It will enter and establish the rules for this Indiana Fever basketball squad. The future should excite us, but here's the really exciting part. Playing for White isn't the only reason Clark is thrilled. She is prepared to absorb her knowledge. What does that mean, do you think? When a coach who has won championships as a coach and a player teams up with a rookie sensation who is already setting records, the potential is incredible. What then is making everyone go crazy? Simply put, Clark is focused on White's vision. She is prepared to serve as the cornerstone of this brand new basketball era. Additionally, when a generational talent like Clark adopts a championship coach's methodology, let's just say that the rest of the NBA needs to be on guard because the Fever is about to take over. There isn't any doubt, there is no possibility in hell that Caitlin Clark was not affected by the Indian fever. In agreement with the idea that introducing Stephanie White's technique isn't only successful, it's expertly crafted to showcase Smith and Clark's advantages. She seems to have been training for this offensive force her entire coaching career. Imagine Clark distributing assists like she has a sixth sense as Smith effortlessly slices through defenders. It's more than just thrilling, it is lethal. The Fever is going to arrive, therefore something has to happen. Steve Kerr. Soon the team will be unlocked, but it's not just about the offensive White at the helm has ended the days when the Fever's defense was as soft as a marshmallow. They are now a formidable defensive force that overwhelms opponents, causing turnovers and converting defense into quick baskets. Stephanie White is totally comprehensible. It's like watching a completely other team play. Do you want to discuss a squad that suddenly starts playing defense? This is where it gets really exciting. This team will play some defense. Experts in basketball are not only forecasting that the Fever will qualify for the playoffs, they are predicting that 2025 will be Smith's breakthrough year. People think that the same player who was benched and mistreated is now being addressed at the all-star level. One of the top players in the league discusses a change. A coach in the NBA has connections to Indiana and experience with Steve Curry are obvious. Okay, since this is your typical coaching move, let's discuss Stephanie White's return to Indiana. The relationship between White and Indiana, her talk of returning, is ingrained in her. She seems to be reconnecting with her family. This is the emotion there palpable. However, this is where things start to get interesting. Excitement is in the air throughout the entire state of Indiana. You know what that implies for the Fever? We're talking about a hometown hero returning to lead the charge. It's enormous. What a fantastic period in women's basketball we are currently experiencing, and to be able to return and participate in it with my home franchise in my home state. Now, it's only a special chance. You may be thinking, okay, however, what real benefits does this offer the team? Let me explain. White is not merely planning to coach a squad. She intends to revive a culture around basketball. She is speaking about reviving the pride in Indiana and the love of the game that every Hoosier has. And that's what can transform a strong team into an unstoppable powerhouse. As Stephanie White has demonstrated, we cannot deny that she is a successful coach here in Indianapolis, and it appears that she has her sights set on winning another title. However, what she can accomplish with this Indiana football basketball team will be incredible. You see, when you have a coach that has lived and breathed Indiana basketball her entire life, she knows its pulse. That transforms everything. It's about connecting with something more profound that can propel players to levels they never imagined. Clark is totally on board. As someone who supports White's goal and is prepared to work with her to make it a reality, you may be wondering why there is such excitement surrounding a new coach. Morning White, who is from Indiana and was a star at Purdue, has been with the Connecticut Sun for the past 2 seasons. From 2011 to 2016, she was also a member of the Fever's coaching staff, serving as head coach for the latter 2 years of that tenure. She spent 4 seasons playing for the team as well. This coach isn't your typical one. We are discussing the fact that Stephanie White is not simply returning to Indiana. She is taking a wealth of history with her when she returns home. Were you aware that White has been a member of the Fever family since the beginning? As a player, she proudly wore that number 22 jersey, but as a coach, she moved to the sidelines, not to bring it up. When you wore number 22 for the Indiana Fever, there was some really beautiful symmetry. Perhaps it's too soon to tell, but it's possible that you will be coaching the Indiana Fever's final player everywhere 22. That's really awesome. It's awesome. When they posted that today, I noticed it struck me as unusual. Of course, number 22 is much better for her. She is far more adept at hitting the ball into the hole. That's correct. She had lived and breathed basketball fever all through it. However, this is where things start to get interesting. White did more than simply coach the Fever. She guided them to their lone WNBA title in 2012. Isn't it amazing that White was there making the decisions the one time the Fever reached the peak of the mountain? That's the type of experience that wins. She moved to the WNBA and is returning to Indiana. White returned to Indiana in 2011 as an assistant, rejoining Lynn Dunn. White's influence was felt right away as he led the squad to a 2012 victory. You may be asking yourself, is she really that amazing? Why did she go? Sometimes you have to try new things, and wow, did White make a big impression somewhere else. She has been transforming the Connecticut Sun into a defensive powerhouse. Can you imagine that under her leadership, they advanced to the semifinals 2 consecutive years? Folks, that's not simply luck. The White effect is that. Christie's side, of course. She hits the bricks, and they bring in a defensive-minded coach who, in my opinion, has a track record of success as the 2023 Coach of the Year. Naturally, she has 2 playoff semifinal appearances and several Indiana connections. But wait, it gets better. White did more than just guide the Sun to the postseason. The 2023 Coach of the Year award went to her. That's correct. The WNBA's top coach is returning to Indiana, and you know what that implies? It's not only a familiar face that's causing the fever, they are now receiving a coach who is at the very top of her game. What does this signify for the Fever? Even though you might be thinking it's fine, let me assure you White people aren't returning to simply relive the past. Her first interview since being named head coach White shows that she has her sights set squarely on the future. Talking nonstop about the roster's youthful talent players like Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark Thriller. In the video, you can really see her thinking about how to maximize all of her talent. Secondly, this young. A thrilling roster considered 2 rookie seasons with Aaliyah Boston and a generational player in Caitlin Clark. I believe Kelsey Mitchell had her best year to date. The roster is really fascinating. What a fantastic period women's basketball is currently experiencing, and to return and play for my home team in my home state, I'm really appreciative of this special opportunity. But here's the thing, White isn't just thrilled about the players. She is thrilled right now we are currently in. Can you sense the excitement in those words? She said, I mean, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. White is here for more than simply coaching. She's here to take advantage of a chance to advance women's basketball, and you know what's particularly exciting is that White's has great plans for our girl. Caitlin Clark, since Caitlin was in the 7th grade, I have been watching her play. It was an amazing time for me to be working with her and this young team while I was coaching in the college room and covering her games. You got it directly from the source. Since 8th school, White has been keeping up with Clark's career. That goes beyond simple scouting. That truly demonstrates dedication. She has a thorough understanding of Clark's game and is now able to assist in advancing that skill. Fever supporters, please hold on to your seats because we are only getting started. White's return isn't merely a welcome home, believe me. It's the beginning of something significant. You'll want to watch what occurs next. I'm telling you now, man, that we should be thrilled about the future of Indiana Fever. Now, this is only the beginning. You may be thinking, all right, White is well known, but what about Caitlin Clark? Let's now discuss the sniper. Who has everyone talking? Recall that Clark didn't merely play when she first took the WNBA court. Rather, she burst onto the scene like a supernova. We are discussing a rookie who broke all previous records with triple-doubles, check assists, and more. Oh, you had better believe it. Clark wasn't merely a gamer. Every move she made was rewriting the history of the WNBA. Not only did she become the first rookie in history to record a triple-double, but Clark also contributed an incredible 19 assists in a single game. Folks, that isn't simply a rookie record, it is a record for the WNBA. This is where things start to become very interesting, though, since Clark was amazing on the court. Even though the Fever made it to the playoffs for the first time since 2016, which is significant, let's face it, they still struggled as a team. They were not even close to contending for a championship. It's similar to having a Ferrari engine in a go-kart. Despite its power, something is still off. Many of us believe that this team didn't perform up to par this year. At any time, you have a huge 3. In basketball, you have a huge 3. You shouldn't be removed. As soon as you enter the playoffs, White has this wild notion. She intends to employ more than merely Clark's abilities.